A very, very warm welcome. This is Anawa Chaudhary. You are on my YouTube channel, Arun Foot. It is October the 2nd. Shubho Bijoya to all of you. A little festive clothing today. And my best wishes to all of you on this auspicious occasion. Happy Dussehra to those of you who are celebrating. And it's the month of October. It has been, and it is crazy days. And Indian football in the next, most probably, month, we'll get to know where the general journey of Indian football will go. We will get to know. We've already gotten to know that Mohun Bagan Super Giants once more did not travel to Iran, and the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers are coming up after that on the 9th and the 14th. FC Goa lost yesterday against in Tajikistan, and on the 12th, the AIFF Exco is supposed to meet and ratify the Supreme Court constitution or Supreme Court drafted constitution. By the 15th, the tender process will be over. So tomorrow, the tender document is supposed to come out from KPMG and the AIFF. By 15th, the tender process should be over. And by the end of the month, we should know if that new constitution, which violates FIFA rules and regulations, will be still there, or if we are going to get banned. So those are the things that will be happening. And if you believe in something or the other, pray to your respective god or gods or goddesses, or even better, let's all pray together to the football gods to save Indian football from the worst kind of disaster that is potentially possible. And that is my fear. But again, let's not get into those things, because the one thing I've always said, which I always felt was important, is the topic of hope. And my question on that is the hope still left, or is that hope gone? And therefore, let's get myself into your comments, my statements, my observations as well. Angry Bird says, Dada, I'm done supporting Goenka. He's welcome to go to hell along with Shinjoy Bose and Devashish Dotto. I understand that. I think I've always said, and I've always maintained, is that the shortcomings of a club like Mohun Bagan Supergiant will only come out in failure. And we've seen Mohun Bagan Supergiants have not done too well. And on the other side, I think the bigger thing to me regarding Mohun Bagan Supergiant has been the fact that Mohun Bagan Supergiant, for whatever reason, which I still don't know why, I don't know if anyone knows it, why didn't they travel to Iran this time around? Last year, it was tense. Okay, I give them that. But this year, there was no reason. There are other teams who've gone to Iran. My namesake, Arunava Bhattacharya, who's an AFC match commissioner, was also in Iran, traveled from Kolkata to Iran to be match commissioner in a game. So there was no reason, right? So therefore, let's wait and see. Hi, Rudra. Yes, it's been a week's break for me. And you know what? It was actually quite good, even though it was a very hectic, a very stressful pujo in regard to organizing it. But it was fun because for a week I didn't bother most of the day about Indian football. And let's see. Anyways, also for me, Shubho Vijaya Dashami to you and to everybody else, Raj as well, Shubho Vijaya. And Rudra says 1 week to go for the Singapore match. Yes, on the 9th, India versus Singapore. Let's wait and see what happens on that date. The preparations have been far from perfect. And yeah, so let's wait and see. Mohammad Superjan should get lifetime AFC ban. They've made India a laughing stock. Rudro, again, lifetime ban to a club cannot be given. That's, that can only be in matters like, match fixing or others. In this case, they will most probably get a 2, maybe, um, and 2-year, maybe 3-year ban, a heavy fine, a financial fine. Yeah, and then let's wait and see. I mean, Mohun Bagan Supergiant's problem is that this is now the third time that they have opted out of playing in continental competitions. 1999, I think a lot of people would not know. I remember Jubilee Wata. Mohun Bagan lost 8-0 in Japan and then declined to host the away match, or the home match for them, but the away match for Iwata in Kolkata. Mohun Bagan was fined and banned. The AIFF didn't react at the time, and Indian clubs were then banned. So that's also history. Every day I wake up and listen to how bad is Indian football is going downhill. Saksham, at the moment, I guess that's one of the realities that we as Indian football fans will have to live through. I think things are not going to change so dramatically, and so therefore for me, yeah, it is. As I said, for me, the last week was not focusing on Indian football all day long. Enough of work, enough of stuff to do in Pujo, and focusing, on the handball stuff. Hopefully, we can announce, and let's see what happens. Why will anyone bid for tender if league is operated by AIFF? What motivation of the company will have to run the league? Rudra, there are multiple questions. Let the bid document come out, right? Let the bid document come out, and then we will see where we stand. I think that's a question that I think nobody can answer at this moment in time. And then we'll have to figure out, at the moment, given the structure that it is, I would like to know the numbers. I would like to know the numbers first. What is the AIFF demanding? What does the AIFF want? And then we can have a conversation. But let the tender document come out, and then we'll see. I find it, difficult, but let's see what happens. Will CFG leave Mumbai City if Stale is out? Rudra, I think that is a generic question with everybody. I think a lot of teams, if not all, could shut shop, right? I mean, that's the reality of where we stand at this moment in time. And FSDL at the moment is out, right? FSDL is at the moment is out, yeah. So what's your thoughts on if these new negotiation MRA bust the bubble of high salaries prove to be blessing in disguise for us? No, it doesn't. Mukul, no, it's not a blessing in disguise, because the problem is that if the negotiations fail, we could have a 25-26 season without a top tier league in India. Forget talking just about ISL. I don't even think the I-League can happen. The AIFF has been dependent on the money from Reliance to run its ecosystem, its calendar. And if those 50 crores are not there, 25 are being paid, right? Costs have gone up also. How are you going to do work from Jan to, or rather from the 9th of December till 31st of May? Where will that deficit come from? Rumors are coming that Goenka might pull out from football after the departure of FSTL. Angry Birds, these rumors are not as useless. If FSTL and Reliance do not come back, most of the people are going to pull out. Right? Just, not only you, everybody just think, you're a wealthy individual, or you are super rich, whatever, or you're a big corporate. You've invested for a certain period of time into football in India. would you continue with your investment? I have told people honestly, with all my love for Indian football, but if I have to look at it from a commercial standpoint, I would never invest in Indian football because it's a lost cause. This thing of saying that you can become profitable with a football club, with a football entity. This story I've been hearing for the last 3 decades, since the National Football League was started in 1996. Has never been a profitable entity ever. And if people are telling you I'm making a profit, then they're cross-subsidizing it with sponsorships of their own companies. That is not profit. That you're covering up because you're spending 20, 30, 40, 50 crores to cover that deficit. That is what we should be talking about. If even you and I had money, I would not invest into Indian sports. Except maybe if I'm rich enough to invest into cricket. Because there, yes, you can make your money back. Every other sport in India is a loss-making entity. Whatever people tell you, whatever may be said or written in financial details. Reality. And therefore, that is the challenge. Hi, Rishabh. I am good. Still a little tired after 6 hard working days at Pujo, but it was fun and as always. But now back to the Indian football realities, and let's wait and see where we end up with Indian football in the coming weeks and months. Good evening, Manjab. Welcome back. Any updates on ISA tender being out? Surya, Kiran, the tender is supposed to come out tomorrow. As far as I know, KPMG and the AIFF will tomorrow publicly or make it public, and then we'll see what it is. Do you think Mohamed Superjan did the things worse? Literally, Ronaldo traveled to Tehran 1 or 2 seasons ago. Well, they have no reason. They had no reason last year because other teams were there. In Isfahan, the rockets were flying over the stadium and the match was going on last year. So even last year the situation was much worse. This year, there was no reason, right? So, yeah. Do you think Mohamed Suhail should be considered in the wings for the Singapore match? No way. The boy did well for the under-23s. Men's senior football is a different level, right? So give him time. I think 2-year ban will be good for Mohan Bagan. Yeah, Manjab, that's the normal rule. 2-year ban, heavy fine. Let's see. I am good, Blue. Also, Shubho Bija to you and everybody else who's listening. Johan Benjamin playing UEFA Youth League. What's your take on this? Bhaskar, good for him, but he has to be successful at senior level. It can only be a stepping stone. There are a lot of players. You forget Indian footballers, general players who played at the youth leagues have been superb. There's that everything at youth level of being. Was reading something about Ansu Fati the other day, who now seems to be finding his ground at AS Monaco. Right? He was the Lamine Yamal. He was the Lionel Messi a few years ago. So therefore, at that level, if you're successful, that's good. But at senior level, you need to be consistent good. Is Mohamed Superjan serious about their team, or they think it's a franchise team? I don't know. Forget franchise or not. The problem here is that Mohamed Supergiant as a club have done this in the past as well, right? So I don't know why you're talking about a franchise or not. Are they serious? They say they are serious. They are saying that we are taking care of the safety of our players and coaches and staff and whatever. Okay, take it. But yeah, they've taken a decision. Yeah, let's see. Our so-called messiah destroyed Indian football and set us at least 10 years back. Shaksham, if things don't work out in the coming month, we are going back not 10 years, we're going back 30 or more years, right? I really hope strict action will be taken as Mohamed. They deserve at least a 5-year ban from AFC. Raksha, I don't think a 5-year ban is possible. I think a 2-3-year thing is realistic and a heavy fine. People thinking high salaries is a new problem. I don't know if it's correct. I think Sonny Nordi got about 3 crore NFL I League. The salary thing is overrated to me. If it's still now too for future also. When I said in 95, 96, when the first players were earning in lakhs, in multi lakhs, so to say, that was the problem at the time, right? When in 2012, United Sports, as Prayag United, made Subroto Pal and Gauramangi Singh the first Indian crorepatis with 1.05 crore as salaries. Again, this is not a new problem. That we are overpaying our players is not a new phenomenon. It's been there. It's been around. Just the magnitude has grown, to a different level. Anil Kodir, Kusanov progressed through the Belarus League, which is far behind the Slovenian League, according to Opta rankings. Need more young guys, especially for lower leagues in Europe. Angry Birds, yes, but again, he is an exceptional talent, and he was, before going to Belarus, he was already being tracked by European clubs, right? If you like that or not, I don't know if any Indian kid is being tracked by European clubs at the moment, right? That was happening 10, 15 years ago. Nowadays, it doesn't happen, right? So therefore, Slovenian League, it doesn't matter. Come to Europe, show yourself, work hard, but you have to play top level. And Kusanov is a good example. How quickly you can jump from Belarus via France to Man City, right? As you say, Belarus, non-existent, goes to France, to Lens. He doesn't go to a big team. He goes to a mid-level French team. And from there goes to City, yeah? When will the bid top come out? Why are they delaying? Indian football revolutionary, they're not delaying. How does the KPMG put these numbers, facts together to create a bid document? They're fishing in muddy water, right? So therefore, to create this document, the timeline that the Supreme Court has given them was unrealistic anyway. So therefore, that is something which is very difficult to put together. Yes, supposedly tomorrow, October 3rd, is going to come out. And the question now is are the numbers going to work? Right? Is the AIFF demanding, let's say, 50 crores? Are they demanding 30 crores in that document as a fixed payment to the AIFF? What are you expecting your new commercial partner to invest into the league? Media, broadcasting. All of those things need to be part of it. It's not an easy document. You don't think it's like, you sit down, write down something, done. Doesn't work like that. I don't know what Mohanbhai Majan wanted to do. They practically ashamed the club in India. Now they are literally rage baiting in social media. Blue, it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. And again, because we don't have any accountability in Indian football, these people are still there, right? So the problem is that, as you say, they have brought shame. They brought disrespect, trolling on us. And yeah, it is. But there's no accountability at the end of the day. Across Indian football, where's the accountability? Right? In the last 10, 11 years, I don't see any accountability at any level of Indian football. That's the reality. Yeah, in Indian people saying if FSC pull out, Indian scene will get better. They are the ones who's the backbone of our football. If they pull out, entire system will collapse. Yeah, that is, yeah. And but who's going to understand, right? That's the problem. People like Ranjit and Mera should understand what they did to this sport is very bad. When the FSL period look at the projects they're running. I don't think anyone can does things like that. General, then they would have pulled the case, no? Rahul Mehra is celebrating this as a success and doesn't know what kind of trouble that these guys have gotten us into. So how come these Indian athletes get medals in tournaments and fail Olympics? Mank, because the competition at the Olympics is at a different level. Very simple. Good evening, Siddharth. Indian official travel to Iran. This is Mank, that's true. Funny, the Indian official travel to Kolkata. Yeah, Blue. Urnav Bhattacharya, my namesake, or Tinku, as he is called fondly. Yeah. And traveled there safely, came back, no problem. Most of them must be banned from ISF for one season too, because they've done the same thing twice, and this time they have months before doing this drama and all. I said, this is the third time, and yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you ban it from the ISL, where do you put them? Because if you ban them from the ISL, then you are doing a forced relegation, right? If you're doing forced relegation, then they have to go down to the I League. You can't ban a team like that, no? The only option is forced relegation. Big population never helps, and we're not focusing grassroots structure. Some will say big population doesn't help. Some will say, oh, we've got too small a population, it doesn't help. Some will say, oh, it helps, this helps, that helps. It is perspective. Super League Kerala Season 2 begins. Your thoughts? Ajmal, I think if you see the status of the Super League Kerala a few months ago in the summer, I would have said, good, would mostly shut down with certain franchises were on the edge. This whole ISL, FSDL, AIFF fiasco has actually helped them because they've gotten a lot of players with ISL level experience and ISL level foreigners, good quality coaches. So they are actually the winner of this whole fiasco around the ISL. And let's see if they can, market themselves good enough, well enough to utilize this opportunity for them to survive in the mid to long term. That's going to be the question. Once the ACL 2 spot gone, believe me, the top tier league will struggle too for sure. Siddharth, nobody cares about that ACL 2 spot as a priority. That is not the priority of Indian clubs. If I get into it, great. If I don't get to it, my life goes on. It is not like playing the Champions League in Europe or even Europa League nowadays, right? If it was a priority, Mohun Bagan Supergiant would have traveled. So, yeah. Good evening, Joshua. I watched the Istiklal versus FC Goa match yesterday. The gulf in class and quality was there to see. We were very, very sloppy and casual. It was a tough watch. Joshua, what do you expect? What do I expect? What do we expect from an FC Goa in such a situation? The problem of FC Goa or any Indian club would have been in such a game. Are you really match ready? Right? They're not. They can't be match ready. So therefore, for me, that's the point, right? So for me, the big challenge was and is, if you don't have a league, if you're not in a match playing situation, then something like this will come out. This is something which sadly is a reality of not playing regular football, right? And this is sad as it is. It's very funny. They're giving orders to players, team doctor, to give statements even after so much trolling and abuse. They don't care. Bengal, perfect example of Nak Khan. Blue, it's embarrassing that players are in a situation where they are being told, right, to post these things, to defend themselves. And I think the worst one, Shubhashish Bose, taking the example of 2020, right? So it's just embarrassing. In 1999, Siddharth versus Jubilee Vata. In a very genuine way, I'm asking you, has Rani Bazaar helped the web in football taking up players for international exposure? And Feb, I think they're playing Nick Cup. What are your thoughts? Mehul, no. Because those tournaments are tournaments, right? Short tournaments, you're playing every day. The question is, what's the value of those tournaments? Rather coming for 2 weeks and playing, top or mid-level academies in friendly games. Tata Football Academy used to do that in the past. Tata Football Academy used to base themselves for 4 to 6 weeks at the Sports University of Cologne and play teams around our region here. They're playing Bayer Leverkusen, they're playing FC Cologne, Düsseldorf, Duisburg, Wuppertal, they were playing teams. And there, you can work on things. Ranjan Chaudhary, long time coach, academy, TFA, of course, then was with Pune FC, and then for some time even at East Bengal. And then I think he was, I don't know if he still is with Gokulam Kerala. Those are the kind of people that have worked, right? And those things are more valuable than playing those tournaments where you're playing 3-4 days, I don't know, X number of matches, 7-a-side, 9-a-side, against inferior, even for our standards. An academy for India going there and playing those grassroots teams makes no sense. It's not even exposure. Sorry, it doesn't work, right? We want these players to be the best, not in India, but in Asia, maybe in the world. If you're playing that level, you're playing grassroots kids. Then you can play the best academies in India. That will be more valuable. So you need to understand what you're playing and how, right? It is like, I remember, I think, was it 2 years ago, Real Madrid, India 3-3. Okay. Did Real Madrid take us seriously? No, they played an under-17C, right? If you had the Real Madrid A under-17s playing in India under-17, do you think it would have ended 3-3? No, I wouldn't. More and more fans now demanding go back Goenka, but they have to realize if Goenka pulls out, who will fund them? Raj, that is the conundrum that Mohun Bagan Supergiant find themselves in. And the question is to the club officials, how can you get out of this situation? That is the question that I think, I know the club officials will have to figure out, because that's the challenge. That is the challenge for Mohun Bagan Supergiant. If Mr. Goenka pulls out, right, and he could. You are in a situation like East Bengal has been. At the moment, East Bengal actually is quite stable with Imami, but before that, or you're even in a worse situation like Mohammedan Sporting. If Mr. Goenka pulls out, Mohun Bagan is not fighting for titles, right? And that's the reality. I guess fans think finishing 9th, 10th is better than withdrawing from ACL too. If that's the case, Blue, I'm fine. The ones I've spoken to still want to be champions at Mohun Bagan. There is, again, we sadly have to talk about the disillusion of or the Lulu state of Indian football fans, be it regarding Indian football generally or fans of clubs. They don't understand that money is needed in the system, right? And again, I have that discussion even here in Germany where people say, oh, we don't need this, we don't need that. And like, without money, nothing works. If I like it or not, in today's sporting ecosystem, which is commercially driven, it is about the money. It is not about how good or how bad I am. What is my heritage? What is my legacy? No, it doesn't count, right? It counts that you have the money in the bank, right? It is, yeah. If in England they talk about Man City, sorry, even a Man United, a Liverpool, a Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, all of them are spending money. In Germany, Leipzig is doing a better job via Red Bull than traditional teams like Hamburg or Schalke. That's why they are there where they are. So it is about money. So they also denied playing against Thai Farmers Club when they refused to shout out as well. Yeah. Safety equals Mohun Bagan is a joke or valid reason? It's a joke, morally. To me, it's a joke because it makes no sense at all. Because because there was no safety concern. I mean, that there is some level of safety concern. Again, at international travel, there always will be. Let's be very, very clear. But the safety concern wasn't to the level that Mohun Bagan Supergiant can come up and say, you know what, we're not traveling because others travel. So that's the situation. So for me, no, it doesn't make sense. And it is sad to see that this is being used as a reason to say, you know what, we're not traveling. We're not traveling. And you pushed it again to the last second. Why did you not come up with this at the time of the draw? Why didn't your officials talk to the AFC and talk to Isfahan about the topic? Supposedly, wasn't it said by an Oman official that Isfahan is going to provide you a plane? weren't they wasn't that said that they will provide a plane and they'll and sort out the visa stuff and everything? Sepahan will, and Isfahan is, from Kolkata football. I feel stability is gone from last few years and it's not good for Indian football. So that the stability has not been there for a long while. It's just that because they've been spending other people's money, no one has realized it. It's been a problem for decades, right? Mr. Malia started it in the late 90s via Kingfisher and McDowell's. Cheap money, no questions asked. And that is gone because at the time you were spending what? 8 to 10 crores, and then you were spending 15 and then 20, and now you're spending what? 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 crores. That stability has not been there. And Mohammedan Sporting is the collateral of all of that over the last 3 decades. Mohammedan Sporting is interesting, has never been a stable I-League club, even though now they've won the I-League and are actually an ISL team. The stability has not been there. Cummings off to South Korea for vacation. Yeah. Nothing much to add, Rudra. But will you take his money in return, or you have to flee from every SL2 competition? Blue, I don't know if that's, again, that is, and again, the question to me is, Blue, who is the mastermind of this not going? Because I don't see I don't see Mr. Goenka being the mastermind of this. Who's the mastermind of all of this? So, Al-Wada played with all foreigners in Iran against. Yeah, but again, there you're saying, no? That's the point. Others are traveling. Nobody had a problem. Nobody has had a problem of traveling to Iran. It is, and therefore, my question is, what is the point of that? And nobody can tell me that. Nobody can explain to me why they've not traveled. Please don't tell me the rumors of AIFF trying to do ISL on their own is true. Well, they are trying to do it on their own because the Supreme Court has said that they have to run the league, right? So they are doing it. Yes, 100%. That's one of the problems we have. So I don't know. And yeah, that's the reality. 33 minutes. Quick reminder, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias, visit arunfoot.com. 10 likes so far. I think we can do better. Share with other people. As I say, more people can join our conversations. And we're now at 2,980 tonight. So it means 20 more likes. And we reached the 3,000 mark. So let me do that in the coming days. Spread it to other people. So as always, thank you for your support. And so therefore, So therefore, that's without your help, I wouldn't be able to grow this. But foreign players, government said for their country to be cautious. Morally, I even have a caution to travel to most part of the world as a citizen of Germany. So again, and a footballer is safer than a general tourist, right? And if other players, other teams are traveling, then why are we talking about this? There is no reason, right? And hi Roshan, hello, good night. First, we made a video about this Mohan Bagan Supergiant topic not going to Iran. It's been some conversation against AFC mixing. I've heard about it. I've not seen the video, but this is the problem of the media as well. And again, most probably some influence to tell him to, hey, could you do this for us? Again, the media is part of the problem at the moment, right? They're not part of the solution very often, right? The right questions are not, So Jigson joined camp yet? Are they dropped? Good question. I was awaiting an update today about who's going to join the camp today onwards. I have no clue. Khalid Jamil has a weird jumbled up squad over there. I don't know who's going to join from Goa or from, let's wait and see what happens. Can they shift now? Morally, there is no problem. I mean, why are you raising this? Why neutral venue, and why is there no threat? There is no threat against who? Why would they threaten more? You understand that even if there was last year, there was were Irani missiles flying towards Israel. That the players were never in danger because you know why? Both Israel and Iran cannot afford for a foreign footballer to get injured in such an armed conflict. Forget footballer, sports person, right? In that situation, continental competition, you're safe, right? So therefore, not a problem. I didn't think Goenka is mastermind, but he allowed it for 2 seasons, so he definitely knows that. Blue, again, Mr. Goenka is not running the affairs day to day, right? So that's the point. And I don't think Mumbai Athletic Club officials can take submission. The question is who's taken it, and that is a question that Mohun fans need to ask. Who is the mastermind of this decision of not going? Isn't Mr. Goenka the person who always said again and again that he wants the team to win the ACL too? Wasn't that the reason why Cummings and then McLaren was signed? Simple question. So therefore, there are questions that Mohun fans need to ask. Can we produce talents who can play in top Asian leagues, forget Europe? No, we're not. Saksham, where is that exceptional talent that can play in other parts of Asia? Look at us against mid-level, lower-level teams, so yeah. Sanan or Liston was Singapore and why? None of both. Because I don't think Liston is in the camp, and Mohamed Sanan for me is not ready for international football. Mohamed Sanan was one of the disappointments of the under-23s. Any instance you felt Indian football running a federation is absolutely chaos circus? Murali, yes. At the moment, it has been for a while now, in the last 3 years. Which ban do you expect for Mohun Bagan? Roshan, I think they'll get a heavy fine and most probably a 2-3 year exclusion from continental football. If they cannot afford some security risk too, they wouldn't damage their image too. Exactly, Roshan. The AFC will not endanger the lives of players for matches to take place. Last year, after that, what happened? They had neutral venue, and therefore this whole and then going to CAS. I mean, you did not go to CAS in the Anwar Ali case. You did not go when you had a very, very valid reason to go to CAS. You went to CAS for this and it got dismissed. So let's see. Israel and Italy played some crazy close encounter match. Yes, Murali. There are Europeans and Americans playing in Iran. How Indians have any problems considering they are friendly to us? Bro, that's the whole point, right? That is the whole point, that if your foreign contingent doesn't want to travel, which can be the case, right? I think it should be left to an individual player. And, to me, Mumbai City 2 years ago traveled to face Nasaji with only Indians, without even the foreign coaching staff, right? Anthony Fernandez coached Mumbai City at the time. So therefore, you can do that, right? And if you play, and again, even if you're, this is competition at continental level, and if someone doesn't want to travel, if you say, but you are telling me that Mohun Bagan Supergiant cannot put together a squad of 18 to 20 players traveling to Iran? Incredible. Then who do you think should lead left wing position? If I think left wing, if I look at the energy and stuff that I've seen in the CAF Nations Cup, I think Vikram. Vikram is most probably my favorite on that position at the moment. So thoughts on BFC new signing, especially Brian Sanchez. He's like Dimas since he's come up. So that we'll have to wait and see. It looks good, and and we'll have to see. Again, I don't go by the CV or by what they've done. Indian conditions are tough at the moment, especially because we don't know what's going to happen in the coming days, weeks, and months. And then we'll have to wait. No, you'll have to wait and see, because Yeah, this is very difficult to predict where we're going. What is our level in which division they can play in Germany compared with English division? Sixth, seventh. Saksham, I've said if Remscheid sixth division team, if I look, you know, yeah, they wouldn't play here. So that's, in my opinion, those are some of the realities, brutal realities, and so for me, yeah, 70 most probably is the most realistic level, I would say. But in attack, he failed. Bhaskar, who's not who did not fail in attack? If you are coming to me and saying, oh, this player, that player, whatever player, um, I don't know. Yeah. After so much negativity, what do you think about the coming qualifiers? Blue, I don't think anything. If I see that the clubs didn't release players, we are in such a mess. And that has been created by the Supreme Court of India. And the AIFF has not got the whatever to stand up and say, with due respect, we need to be running our own house independently of your interference. Nothing will change. And it shows me that the AIFF is incompetent, that most of the stakeholders, sorry, with all due respect, I'm brushing everyone now through, but hey, incompetence, no accountability, and therefore we are where we are. That's the problem. That is a real problem. Any difference you find English Premier League and First Bundesliga? Yeah, Murali. Atmosphere in Germany is better. In England, the game is most probably a little faster and more physical. Yeah, a lot of differences. And have done I-League and Interkashi? No, nothing to that. Interkashi, at least as per Super Cup, is being mentioned as an I-League club, which is another one of those crazy things. I mean, CAS has clearly stated and said Interkashi are champions of the I-League, right? They still don't have a trophy. The FF have not confirmed them as champions and pushed them towards the ISL. And they're being listed in the Super Cup as an I-League team. So where do we want to go? So yeah. So yeah. That is an I-League. I don't even know Siddharth, what we're talking about I-League. I mean, some clubs have been putting together it's crazy, right? It's crazy where we are at this moment in time, but we are not moving forward in any positive way, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I don't see things moving at the moment. I don't see things moving in the right direction. It's very, very dangerous for Indian football. India 23 against Indonesia going to interesting. Yes, let's see what we can do. What are the areas of court done injustice to football compared to CAS? Murali, CAS is an institution where you have people sitting over there with a certain understanding of sports law, right? In the Supreme Court, the judges handle cases to potentially every topic that could crop up, right? So you don't have an expertise. So therefore, that sports tribunal, they should be looking for people who are interested and understand sports and understand sports governance, right? So, yeah. So therefore, for me, that's the problem. Name 3 young strikers who is an upcoming senior national team player. Uday, I see none. Again, if you'd asked me this question 2 decades ago, I would have also said to you know what? I would have said who are the players at the time? Vimal Pariyar and Lalan Puya. Sunil Chhetri would have not featured on the list because Sunil Chhetri was not seen, or Sunil Chhetri didn't give you that vibe that he can be an India striker in the long run. He turned into that, right? That season at JCT 2007, 2008, that was the turning point for him. So therefore, at the moment, I don't see anyone, but I'm sure someone or the other will have to step up that mark. I was hoping Irfan Yadwat could be that striker, but Irfan, for different reasons, couldn't do that at the CAFA Nations Cup, and therefore we'll have to see. A sixth division, even a professional league? No, it's a completely amateur. So therefore, I'm just saying that that's the level. And you're saying, I'm sure Sunday League players can beat national league. Of course they can. Who do you rate best in football situation according to your worst football situation? Well, the worst is now, and best, I would have said under Kushal Das. When Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnamese clubs are using 11 foreigners in ACL to get results, why Indian clubs can't do that when they are paying cross to Indian players who is not fit for international football? That was a good question. You could ask that question, but they're not doing. That's the question that should be asked, but they're not doing it, right? So I honestly don't know how these teams will do that, right? It's difficult to see the right steps being taken at the moment. What is the outcome of relegation case in I-League 7? Someone blamed the president for interfering in pre-committee. Blue, I have no clue. I've not heard it. I've heard anything about it. Let's put it this way. So again, is the I-League happening? Someone would have to tell me or explain to me if the I-League is happening or not. At the moment, I don't know. It's a bit, Therefore, we'll have to see what happens to Delhi FC and SC Bangalore. In world of football, everyone is laughing at us at the moment. For our club, federation, nothing seems hopeful. Still, we fans just believe in football. Kudos to all of us. Siddharth, I told someone this 3 days back when that person called me. I said yes, yeah, laughing stock, very nice. But one thing, you guys don't deal with people in international football on a regular basis. I have to deal with those people, and I've always defended. I still defend Indian football, right? What I tell you, I will not say to a foreigner. I will not try to disrespect our football in that way. But it is nowadays difficult to nearly impossible to defend. Impossible to defend because, as you say, we've been looked down upon, or have always been looked down upon, because we've never made it really at international level. And when we did, nobody bothered about the game. And now, situation of the AIFF, national teams, clubs, this, that, When we look at foreign football stadium and TV, it looks like graphic video game visual, especially in England, Germany, is really gets seen in stadiums where they play vital role. Morally, no. Stadiums are different, right? I don't know. Again, I always say that I'm biased on that front towards football in Germany because I've grown up here and I've watched it here as well. So therefore, for me, that's an important thing. And from that perspective, it might look so, but I always say watching a live game in a stadium, and it doesn't have to be Europe, even in India, look at the experience at a stadium depending on where you are and how the game is, and that will all influence your experience. What is the level in which Germany our best players can play and compare with it? Saksham, I said 6th, 7th tier here in England as well, most probably. National League South, North, 6th tier. The top players maybe. Hi Rohit, you almost got 3,000 subscribers. Thanks for that. Now nearly 50 minutes. Quick reminder to that fact that please like, share, and subscribe. We're at 12 likes today only, and I think you can all do better with 26 people watching. And if you're new, you're liking the conversation, please do subscribe to the channel. We're 2,981 at this moment in time, so only 19 left to get to that 3,000 mark, and help me grow and and have these honest, open football conversations on Indian football. And thanks as always for your support. Usain Bolt asked, did you get good development and facilities for growing up? He just said passion. We don't have things which better in US and Europe. They complain for Olympics. Murali, As having worked in the Caribbean in the past, having seen their infrastructure, their infrastructure, again, nowadays it's better than it used to be when Usain Bolt used to be young. So let's talk about 20 years ago. My first trip was in 2005 to the Caribbean. The infrastructure was bad or non-existent. But as he said, passion, desire, the will to succeed, that's the most important thing. If people start complaining, we need infrastructure, we need this, we need that, you've already lost the battle. At grassroots level, you have to adjust to whatever you have or what you don't have, rather. And if you don't have, when you get something, you should value that. And that is being lost because in India, it's all about money, 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 money. It is not about personal development. It's not about achieving higher goals. Some of the players get that back when they're a little older, when they've sort of settled. But taking risks is not something that Indian players really like to take. So that's a problem. I think we should focus more on technicality rather than physicality. Why still drive players like Vikram, Pratap, Manvir and all? There are a lot of names. Uday, yeah, but tell me players who are technically better who can do the job that a Vikram does, right? So my question is technicality. Tell me the technical players, right? Because the technical players don't even, are not that good, and so therefore, I don't know. I mean, we will have to rely on these players because we don't have better players. If we talk about technically good players, who we're talking about? We're talking about Brandon, we're talking about Sahar, but again, they have their own issues and problems. So, yeah, what do you take? When India team and club come to Germany for training or match, do some of the fans made fun of it? No, they don't. We have already seen the spark in the under 23 players. We saw that they're technically better, so I think we should completely change the national team, except 1-2 players. No, Uday, where were they technically good? Again, where do you take that? The results were better, yes, but were we technically better than Bahrain and Qatar? No, we weren't, right? Or at least I didn't think so. And again, let's not even get into Brunei. So I don't buy that point. Apart from Hamza Chowdhury, anyone played higher level Bangladesh play? Yeah, there are players in the MLS, there are players in the second tier in England, in Norway, Finland, Canada. Yeah. Indian football will grow only if we stop playing these only renowned physicality players, for example, Spain. Uday, you're taking the example of Spain. You're taking the example of the best country in the world in regard to football. So yeah, that's the reality. Hi, Karam. Any news about ISL and I-League this season? No. At the moment, they're not happening. The tender document supposedly will come out tomorrow, and then we'll see what the numbers are, what is being built in, and then we'll have to wait and see how we can. If anyone shows interest, I think there will be someone who has shown interest, and then they say, "Oh, you know what? I out of my budget." The sad part is Indian origin player plays in high league, even if they want to play, they are hesitant because of delay in formalities. They better vote. Well, there is no hesitate. Why hesitate? It is on us to enable them to play either with dual citizenship or giving them a passport in a short span of time. If you're waiting 5 years, again, those players are playing abroad, so they need 10 to 12 years to get an Indian passport. The career is over. So if you want to play long game and build the awareness of asset, let's say top 5 in Asia, how long will it take? 30 years, 50 years? There is no realistic timeline of doing that. So to be very, very honest, if we don't sort out our basics, we will not be even a top 5 league in the next 100 years. So if we don't do the basics right at grassroots, at youth football, in our coaching, in our competitions, in our scouting, you're dreaming of being a top 5 Asian league, or being top 5 in Asia is a dream which is nice to have, but it won't be. Even a Qatar is not a top 5 Asian nation in regard to football, in my opinion, despite having won the Asian Cup, the last 2 Asian Cups. And look at how much they've spent over the last decade, right? Someone said to me today, sports dynamics getting changed in India with different sports things happening and esports growing forward, struggling more in India. Do you agree with the statement? No, because which one of these other leagues are actually successful? Is Kabaddi successful? Is volleyball successful? Hockey? is imploding once again, right? 3 of the franchisees have already shut shop of the HIL. Where is it? Esports is a totally different thing. I don't, again. So therefore, no. Again, this is if someone says sports dynamics getting changed, that means, these sports management guys who think, people are talking about paddle and all that kind of stuff. If football sorts out the basics, no one in India can challenge football of these other sports, right? Football will not challenge cricket, but also football is still with all our problems, football is still the number 2. Because football is the only sport in India where you have a real league. The ISL and the I League are the only real sporting leagues in India which run for 6, 7, 8 months. There is no other league in India. All of those so-called leagues are tournaments. If we don't want to understand that, we will not, move ahead. Then after saying English 4th division is equal to ISL level, and this is now I know how this honest fortune players are. If it is 4th division, then maybe he's talking about the involvement of the foreigners. If he's talking about the Indian players being, of that level, not working. How competitive MLS compared to J League and other Asians? It is very competitive. The MLS is very, very competitive. Any positive, negative from a U23 side? Really, I liked what I saw from the under-23s, but you saw in the final third the problems we have against Brunei, for example. It was clearly evident where you needed to score a lot of goals and we couldn't. Defensive unit looked good, but the weaknesses we have in the senior team also we have in the under-23s. I was talking about the long terms. Today we're seeing these kind of players because they were not trained properly. They were trained to focus more physically. That's what I'm saying. No, Uday, no. See, the physicality aspect is something which you're saying that no one has worked on the physicality or even. They've just come up, right? In the past, we had technically better players without looking at physicality. And these players actually do it themselves rather than it being a sort of a system-based thing, right? Your experience in Qatar, Aspire Academy. When I visited Aspire, it is an exceptional system and model, right? I mean, if I see the sporting infrastructure in one place and the magnitude of that infrastructure, it's just insane. To me, it is just insane to see what the Aspire Academy has and stands for. So therefore, for me, it's something, exceptional. One word to describe what Indian hockey and their success, but still gold is missing. How is gold missing, Murali? India is the record Olympic gold medalist. And the success is nice to see, finishing twice third in the Olympics. Again, most successful team sport in that way. But again, if you can't run a league in India, then that shows you the problem of the sport. I've given up Indian football because total indifferent. I wish them well, but slowly my interest is dying. What's up? This is not a short game. Indian football is something very, very, very long term, not only for you, for me, for all of us. And again, if you want success, it will take time. How do you rate U23 India striker? Not good. Parthiv Gogoi is spoken a lot about. What did he do in the under-23s? And you want him in the senior team? We have to realize with $2,000 GDP per capita, we don't have money to invest in infrastructure. Utsav, why are we talking about infrastructure? We just spoke about Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt didn't have the infrastructure available to him that even Indian kids have not even in the metros, but in the smaller cities, in tier 2 or tier 3 cities, even, and so therefore it's not a per capita thing. If we want, we have to do it without that, right? Because in Africa, those countries, or even in the Caribbean, they would love to have $2,000 per capita income. When the country is almost as big as us, the size doesn't matter. Look at what the Chinese are trying to do. Even they spend much more than us. How much of more success have they had? Yes, they are regular at the Asian Cup, but nothing more, nothing less. Remember, guys, in starting of 2005, guys was talking about SAF Club Championship and all. Now we don't even have a league of our own. This happens when accountability is missing from the base. Yeah? Yeah. What is U23 team preparing for? Nothing, Hannibal. I'm talking about task force. Morally, forget the last two. Look at the history. Indian hockey has a brilliant, great history. But yes, they've not been successful for a certain period of time, and in the last decade, they've sorted themselves again. But again, the Dutch were simply better, or even the Germans in the last Olympics. Is there any hope of running some organization? Hannibal, I hope is something which I still have, but I don't know if it'll work. Right. So for me, that's the challenge for me, for you, for all of us. We still have hope. The question now is, can that hope be turned into something more or less? And can we get something that is realistic and doable? Because at the moment, without Reliance, I find it very, 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 and to me, that's a huge challenge. To me, it's a huge challenge to try and organize this. And therefore, very interesting to see what happens in the coming weeks and months. Because at the moment, I have hope. Nothing more, nothing less. The sad part about India is, even after trying for the last 30, 40 years when NFL still we don't have a proper league structure. Even today, we don't know. We don't have a league with 18 clubs. Abhijit, our problem is this fascination of trying to copy the Europeans. 18 clubs league is still far away, in my opinion. A 14-team, a 13-team league is not the right step for us. At the moment, we have a lack of talent. I think you need to actually think about reducing the ISL to, 10 teams again, maybe? Run it for 3 to 5 years, and then start to grow again. The growth process which was put in place via the FIFA AFC roadmap, due to different reasons, amongst others, a big one was 100% COVID, in my opinion, has not worked. Right? So that's the reality. I don't think we have knowledgeable people in India to run AIFF. We need foreigners in some of the positions. Yes, actually, yes. But the foreigners then tell you, we've had technical directors, sporting directors who've come and told you what the problems are and what may be the way out of it. I say Rob Barnes said it very clearly over a decade back. He even produced Lakshya as a plan. And if we'd implemented 30-40% of what Rob Barnes said, I think we would be much better today than we were in 2012-13. Right? Isaac Duru said a lot of things. People didn't like it. And then thank you very much, Tata bye-bye. Others have come in and gone. Right? So that's the other problem. When we bring in people and they tell you, these are the problems, even internally, not even externally. Internally, the AIFF or the people running the affairs don't want to hear those things because that's not to their liking. Right? Utsav, you can't take GDP things. It's all about passion and putting efforts. Yeah, it is. See, the infrastructure thing is a easy get out of jail card in Indian sports. Oh, we don't have infrastructure. Oh, we don't have the coaches. We forget one thing I always feel. Each individual, as an athlete, what are you aspiring to achieve? Where are you trying to get to? Right? Simple question. And to me, that is a big failure of Indian football, Indian sports, because the athlete then, it depends on the system. The success we've had, especially in individual sports over the last 20, 30 years in Indian sports, has been the success of those individuals, not of the system. Neeraj Chopra, Leander Paes, Mahesh Bhupati, all these guys have been successful, Saina Nehwal and all the others, because they wanted to be world class. Simple. I think people who talk about infrastructure need to look at Africa. We're better than them in resources. They regularly play top level league for us. It's a dream. Yeah, very true. So that's true. They have what's up? Who has dual nationality? Some have. Some are even born in Europe, but regularly players out of Africa, South America, Central America, even North America make it in professional football. But somewhere down the line, I think basic infra required rather than gigantic stadium. Murali, that's a different discussion. So that's a different discussion because again, if you don't have basic, people in some parts of the world play football without a ground, without a football even. So you will tell me that no, we don't need basic infra, right? We need to understand that. How do you see rise and fall down of us, US football? Where's the fall of US football? I don't even know, Murali, why you're saying fall of US football. Where's the rise also? Don't you think that even Tajikistan defenders dribbles ball like our top midfielders? Well, they're better than our top midfielders. Tajikistan, we've seen, right? Again, if anyone tells me anything else, the win against Tajikistan was a fluke, right? They made two terrible defensive errors, and we scored. And we saw Istiklal against FC Goa. No? People are not understanding Africa and many other countries. Saksham, they don't understand the world. In India, we like to blame others for our failures. We don't want to tell ourselves, you know what, we need to do things differently in our own interest, right? That to me is, I think, the biggest problem. The second we are willing to recognize our shortfalls, again, therefore I use introspection and accountability. If we don't do that, we will not move forward. I think more than infrastructure, malnutrition, sporting culture, and human development makes more difference. I think malnutrition, Rohit, is also there in other parts of the world. Again, to me, it is the desire, the passion, the will. And sporting culture, there are parts of that. Why do players come from sporting athletes from Sierra Leone? Right? They have malnutrition, massive malnutrition. Yeah. You view Malaysia naturalizing issue with FIFA. Roshan, yeah, they're desperate for success. Too quickly implemented and it failed. I think we have money utilization is the main problem, and vision mentality are even bigger problem. 100% blue. If you don't have the right people in the right position, nothing will happen. Indian football is not spending small money. That is something which needs to be understood. If our top clubs are spending between 50 to 100 crores, that is not small money, right? So that is something that is very, very important. Indians always criticize people who think big. We don't even think big. Yeah, that's also a fact. By the way Sumit Nagar put India back on a Davis Cup tournament was almost Landesque. I was extremely proud of that boy. He has heart and is a fighter. Yeah, again, that is what, makes a champion, right? Read about Sumit Nagar and then you will understand how this boy's come up. I'm talking about USA football. Yes, Murali, again, rise and fall. I don't know where you're getting this rise and fall of US football. I don't know. People need to understand that some Africa and some other countries have no infra like us, but they produce better talent. I think we lack talent, passion, and guts. Yeah. Even if we have that talent, maybe we've not found that talent, maybe we've not developed that talent, maybe we've not nurtured that talent. Right? So there are multiple points that can be put together as a problem in these things. Malnutrition, okay. Carb max diet plus low protein. Yeah, honorable. Yes, India hockey had great legacy and we were playing there's one few powerhouse from Africa. Asia. Yeah, but only how many teams played hockey? Took hockey seriously. So let's see. Will the process of finalization of commercial partner be completed on October 15th as promised by the AIFF and NSL to the Supreme Court? Sure, Kiran, I don't know. Tomorrow the document is supposed to come out. So we will hopefully have something with numbers which then commercial entities can ponder about, and then we'll have to wait and see what happens. And if they think, let's say no one bids, right? I don't know if they're going to ask for an extension, because the problem is if there is no commercial partner, I don't even know if the Super Cup can take this. I mean, that's a question that's, not all teams are training at the moment. Also a fact, right? So Odisha FC have already, opted out. Let's see who the others could be to follow them suit. I saw the map of Resolution Bengal, Super League in West Bengal. Hope it has a positive impact. It is a challenge, in some sort of form way. Bengal football would have to stand up. Let's wait and see what it can do, right? Yeah, it is for Bengal football very, very important that this project works out, to spread the game outside of Kolkata, to spread it across the state, up north, even towards the Alipurduar side, but also in the central part of West Bengal. It is very, very important. Indian malnutrition fell from 40% to 14% over the last 10 years. This will make a difference 15 years into the future when these kids grow up to be adults. Yeah, but what impact has it on sports, right? India is 17 to play China, 17 to doubleheader. Good exposure. Good, very good exposure for our kids. Interestingly, Haryana, a more vegetarian part, has more athletes than Bengal, non-vegetarian part. So I think the low protein part is also very big. Blue, it is, it can be a lot of points. So again, we can generalize, one excuse I don't like about people say infrastructure and they bring GDP per capita income. Yeah, well, it's a problem, no? And the Indian 25 against India on a similar doubleheader. Yes, Angry Birds. That's good exposure. It's a taboo for kids to do strength training in most parts of India. These days, I don't think so. I don't think that it's a taboo of any kind. Saina Nana plays on the bar stand. We are produced with like ecosystem, morning tennis. Ecosystem, not tennis. Look at Leander, Mahesh, Rohan Bopanna, Sania Mirza, and others. Money is not. It's the ecosystem which is not in there. If no one bids, ISL won't happen. They won't. That's a good question. The challenge at the moment is we need to know what the numbers are. Right? At the moment, we, none of us know what are the numbers that the AIFF and KPMG will put out in the market. And once we know, then we can think, is it going to work or will it not work? Right? So, and the danger is if no one bids, if there's no backup plan, as Angry Birds is saying, if no one bids for the tender, then we can expect the whole India football season go off. Yeah, that's then a real danger for us, that could happen, that then there will not be an Indian football season. I see the challenge for Bengal Super League, like for Super League Kerala, where it has to go to other places than Kozhikode and Malappuram. Roshan, that's the problem, right? But where is the infrastructure to host such a so-called high-profile league? Be it in Kerala and be in Bengal, and if tennis was the most degraded sport for India in this decade, yeah, that's also a fact. No? We used to, at least in doubles, we had, okay, even in the women's game, at least in Sania, we had a world-class player, but we've not produced that level of players for the last 15 years. Why do you think Northeast doesn't produce world-class players, even after having very good football culture? Personally, I feel they're egoistic and not taking things seriously. How do you say they're egoistic and not taking things seriously? How do you come? I would love to know how you come to that conclusion. So the word world-class to me is always a very big word. To me is even Indian, forget India, yeah, Indian class, to produce a Baichung, to produce an Ambijan, a Sunil Chetri, that would be a start, and to me, that's the question that we should be talking about. The Northeast, the good thing has been that those who've been working over there and trying to build things have been very open about it. They're not egoistic about it. So therefore, and they take things seriously because they've been successful. SCN bid on 2 million for World Cup broadcast reason. Let's see what happens to that. You can be vegetarian, get all the protein you need from Milk, dal, and beans. The problem with beans from non-produce is the level of lactose intolerance. Okay, Rohit. Don't you think that mostly tennis is played by rich class people? I've never seen a tennis court in my life. Hannibal, there were projects I remember in Chandigarh and others, and for middle class kids to play. And I think the boy's name was Sunil Kumar, who actually was quite successful. So therefore, yeah, you will say golf is a rich man's sport. Theoretically, cricket is even a rich man's sport, right? So that conversation can always be there. If money wasn't the issue, why ISL clubs have to now not develop training facilities or stadiums on their own? Why they always depend on government grants or on government grants and municipality? The one thing is why is very simple, because to get land to build something is a problem, right? So getting land in India is a problem, and stadiums to build is something where you have to recoup money at some stage, right? It's a 150, 200, maybe 300 crore investment. And if I'm already losing money, why would I make such an investment? It doesn't make sense. And infrastructure is generally also, also another problem. Make best OCI players playing 11, hypothetical question. Saksham, I would have to think who is where at the moment. It just, just throwing out 11 names is a little difficult. Exactly, it was once upon a time was held back athletes quite a bit. So, okay, OCI are going to come in the next century. Let's see. So how is Mahesh Narim as player? Talented. But is he good enough for international football after the CAF Nations Cup? I would say no. Tennis very expensive, sports very limited was they can earn the money. It's not limited. If you're successful at some level, not even at top level, it can be achieved. So I've proven that Punjab and Indian have less lactose intolerance compared to, let's say, South Indian and Bengal regions. Okay, Rohit. Not seen those studies, so therefore, yeah. We don't have the right coaches scouting and working with kids. Yeah, too, but that's a problem. Mizoram will give a world class in next 10 years. But let's see. Not the sweetest guys in the sport, in my opinion. In Bengal, each one thinks them no less than Ronaldo, Messi. Yeah. Other parts as well. Any update in Kashi promotion or nothing? Surya Kiran, at the moment, they are perceived by the AIFF to be an ID club, or AIFF clearly stating that they're an ID club. So we will have to wait and see. So let's wait and see. Why Khalid not call Apuya or Abhishek Thekcham? I think is making most visible in recent times, because they were with Mohun Bagan, or supposedly they were with Mohun Bagan for AFC competitions. And let's say I've not seen any update from the AIFF today where any statement was made by the federation about players joining post ACL2 commitments. Let me just check once. So I'll have to wait and see what happens. But to me, that's something. No, they've not. Let's see, they've posted pictures an hour ago. So Anwar Ali is visible in that. Sunil is visible in that. Sahal is there. So, okay, that's interesting. And Mahesh. Okay, so they've got some players in. Let's see. Let's see what the updates are in the coming days. Starting a tennis camp in a rich class area in every city is a very good financial investment startup idea. No, it's not, Hannibal, because your investments are too high. How much are you going to charge your kids? It doesn't work. Another, believe me, I had a friend who was quite obese and non-sporty due to lack of defenders in a section-wise tournament. He was called up. The dude became Maniri for that particular day. Yeah, but that then shows the lack of class in the other teams, no? Manish needs to get more physicality and then he will cook. Yeah. Manish, other performance in the national team, everyone knows he's a great player. Chetan is a great, talented player. But if he can't perform in the national team again, at some stage you then have to ask the question, why does it happen again and again and again? What Khalid sees in Danish that we wouldn't? Good question. If you watch my lives from the CAF Nations Cup, I after the first one, I would have thought, okay, Khalid hopefully comes to his senses and doesn't play him again, but he did. And I still don't know what Khalid Jamil sees in the player, because to me, sorry, not a national team level player. Sir, do we really need I League 2 or 3? I think they should merge into one, and below that should start State League. What's your opinion? No, I think we need to have what does it mean by merging? Do you make the I League 2 bigger? Again, we're looking at and then more matches, more cost, right? So therefore, so therefore, yeah. Therefore, to me, it's not an answer to our problems. I think, yeah. How do you see the mandatory inclusion of relegation? As I said, isn't it going to make the league very much competitive? How is it going to make it competitive? It will dilute the investment into the league on one side, because people will not want to spend as much as they would at the moment. How does it become competitive? The league is not competitive because it has grown in the last years. Our problem is that because the league has grown, we've become less competitive, right? So therefore, that's something which is a reality, and we have to live with that now, and therefore, we'll have to see how we can find a solution to that. Rich people will definitely pay for their kids. Anibal, how many kids can you train in that academy to set off that investment? Sounds easy, right? Hi, Vijay, I'm gutted with the developments in ACL 2. We are hanging by the balance with the 10th slot in quotient ranking. Vijesh, we're going to get out. We're not going to stay in there. So, sorry, right? And one thing is clear to me is, even if Mohun Bagan had played their matches, I think, and so therefore, to me, that 10th spot was, after the draw of ACL 2, to me, that was already lost. No, that starting tackles were pinpoint, didn't even a single card. Yeah, that's great. Outside top 50 players, tennis players don't earn much. I would try to do something about it. I saw on a Facebook comment. Chetan, it depends on where you come from, how you organize your tours, and how you watch it. Again, don't earn much, but they earn, right? So then you're a professional player in a sport. Is the most frustrating time to be an Indian football fan? Blue, I think so. At least the last 3 decades that I've been following Indian football, or even more than 3 decades now, I think things were not as bad as they are now. Tennis and golf are very technical sports. Even the West, it requires expert coaching, who charge $30 to $70 per hour. Okay, that's actually quite cheap. How is Mohammad Salah a striker? I think he's not that bad compared to other Indian strikers. He's terrible. Has lost nothing in the national team. 20 kids and 10K per month fee. Yeah, how much are you going to get? Right? You're telling me 10K, you're earning 2 lakhs. You know how much it needs to build a tennis infrastructure? Why are people rather building football turfs than any other sporting infrastructure? Because football turfs is something which you can actually earn money. What is Khalid's obsession with Rahim Ali and Irfan? I don't know if it's an obsession, as you say, but to me, these are 2 of the few players that even I would try and work with. I think you've asked the question about Danish Farooq. There are other players, Manveer Singh would be the other one. Those would be. Rahim Ali to me is, again, one of the options, and Irfan, those are amongst the best options we sadly have. We don't have better ones. Why actually Mohun Bagan didn't went to Iran security issues? Chetan, I don't know. They are claiming security reasons, but the good question is, I think nobody has asked the question of what is the real reason for Mohun Bagan not to travel, right? Exception, except Rahman and Irfan. Don't tell me David or Sven. Blue, that's the problem, right? The problem is we don't have options. And to me, I would take Rahim Ali any day for the experience and he has. And Irfan to me is the one with the potential that you need to work on his finishing, right? Owen Coyle got him to a certain level. Now the next coaches need to get him to the next level. That's the challenge. Even on football turf, they're playing cricket with tennis ball. This country is cooked. Honeywell, yes, they are, but again, it's still a football field, and depending on other places, it is something which is working. Tennis, to me, too costly to build. There is no details about tickets for Singapore game in January in Margao. I hope the stadium will be packed to the brim. We need to win it. Vijesh, I hope so as well. Should be something coming out in the coming days. So we'll have to wait and see. Uh, 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 and you know, so Rahim in ACO20 was a beast. He somehow was able to pull himself down from a position that was quite impossible. I remember I saw him in those qualifiers in the UAE. But the problem is, for him or any other player, consistency is then the challenge, right? And that's welcome to Indian football. For him, it's always been about consistency, being better than the others. And the AC under 23 qualifiers, I remember those. Again, I was there. It was actually on my birthday, the last match, Kyrgyz Republic draw, and then India won on penalties. I had a special okay from the AFC to attend the match. Yeah, it was great. Right, 26 or 1 hour, 27 minutes nearly. Quick reminder, like, share, subscribe. Yeah, Arun Foot on YouTube at the moment, 17 likes. I think we can do better, guys. With all of you who are watching, and if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to it and join our conversation. It's 2,981, so still 19 short of the 3,000 mark. So the next small little milestone for Arun Foot. I'm working towards that, so hopefully that will be achieved in the coming days. In football field, you can play anything, so that's the best thing. Tennis stuff are hard to even afford unless you have very rich locality. Yeah, very right. And a one-off tennis court, you can't do anything. You will need at least 4 courts. You will need a club and clubhouse, this, that, everything, which you don't need with the turf. Mohun Bagan and Superjan didn't win because they took advice from players who never got high school education. I know it's a different word, it's true. Honeywell, the play, I don't think it's come from the players. I don't think it's come from the players. Mohammad Super, when ISL was in its inception, did anyone think there will be clubs who just want to poach young players from small clubs instead of build youth player on their own? No, there were plans. And I remember we at Mumbai City won the Grassroots Award in the first season because we put in a plan. And now, after a decade, the first players are coming from that grassroots towards the academy level, right? Because even if you start grassroots tomorrow, you will not get results tomorrow or day after. So therefore it takes time. If no Irfan or Rahim, then who? Lautaro or Kane? Or maybe Messi or Ronaldo will play first, no? What happened to Dheeraj Singh? He somewhat disappeared. Angry Birds, wrong decisions, and at club level, many mistakes, which have, Manolo at some stage didn't trust him. The coaches at Mohun Bagan Supergiant have not trusted him, and yeah, that's the end of the road. These cricket guys can play anywhere, says Hannibal. Dada, what's your take on Mohammad Nawaz's goalkeeping option? Angry Birds, yeah. I would have always said Dheeraj is the more talented of the two, but both of them are good shot stoppers. And but let's see if he can long term. Like Prabsukan, the question is, can they long term? Those 3 goalkeepers were fighting in the youth teams amongst each other. If they can actually make it and as a number 1 goalkeeper. Most cricket players play in non-cricket grounds except the cricket coachings. It's how would they maintain pitch? That's very difficult, says Blue as an explanation to Hannibal. Tell them to point out that Iran is a blank map. They won't be able to point at anything. Yeah, but Hannibal, I don't think that the players were the deciding factor in this matter. Again, I say that. Where is Dheeraj? Is he still with Mohun Bagan Supergiant or he left Mohun Bagan Supergiant? I think he left Mohun Bagan Supergiant, right? Let me just check the current squad. I think he's left him. And is he a free agent or is he signed? I don't think. I just want to say, let me just check. He's still being listed as a Mohun Bagan keeper. Okay. I don't know if anyone's seen him for Mohun Bagan. But let me just once more check something. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just check something. Check the this is still listed players. No, it's not listed. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if anyone knows. Let us know where Dheeraj is at the moment. Why don't they mandate compulsory for club players for squad registration? Utsav, they've tried these kind of things, or making mandatory, I don't know, under 23s, under 21s, under 19 players in the system. All these things have been tried. None of them have actually factually worked. So, that's one of those problems. So, yeah. That was good. By God, says Hannibal. The problem is of a lot of these, and this is something which you also forget, that if you have been successful at youth level, if you are a good player or maybe even a top player at 16, 17, 18, maybe you're 19, 20, it doesn't guarantee that you'll make the way up to be a top pro. A lot of players are good, yeah, that you'll make it as a professional. Dheeraj was a cut above the others, or even Mohammad Nawaz at some stage was, and then Dheeraj really, took over, and yeah. Angry Bird says, Dada, Sahil, Punya, Priyansh, Dubey really don't make me feel comfortable that they're going to be in contention for upcoming goal position national team. Angry Birds, that's the problem. I understand where you're coming from. I think there will be other keepers also coming up, right? And it is, let's see. Say, what app or site you use to watch football stats? Do you use FootMob or something like that? No, I watch. Where do I get my stats? I actually look at the stats on the pages where I follow. Yeah, follow the games, right? Hope that our women team will do something charismatic in Asian Cup. Chetan, that they're there, to me, is already success. That the Indian women's national football team is at the Asian Cup is a huge, huge, huge success for us. And in that group, any kind of success, I take it. But as I always say, you have to stay humble, you have to stay realistic, and let us see what the team can do. So Premier League mandates that, I think German clubs too. Utsav, there are platforms. Sorry, there are companies who there is a league-wide partner normally to collect data, and then it is distributed amongst the official broadcaster, the sports news websites, betting apps, sites, all of that get all of those data. So yeah, that's it. I would rather believe in something like Gurmeet Singh in his early 30s over them. Angry Birds agree. I agree that the question is if these boys of these Gurmeets or this Ritik Tiwari, if these guys will step up when they become older and mature. That's the point, right? Who would be talking about Ritik Tiwari 2 years ago? I think nobody, right? So we will have players hopefully coming up. No, I'm not talking about homegrown players in squad. Yeah, I was also talking about homegrown players in squad registration. Homegrown players, what's the rule? What is it? Is it from your own academy? Is it from your own state? If you make it from your own state, you already have problems. Nice idea, it doesn't work. Again, we need to widen our net and get as many players in. And these homegrown rules are nice ideas, but I am not a fan of it because that's like a quota system being installed, and that does not help Indian football at the moment. We need players from wherever they're coming, from whoever they're coming, because at the moment, we have a talent issue, right? And that's a challenge that we need to remember. And yeah, that's we need to widen our net rather than, make it smaller. Because you give these players an opportunity, but actually, are you improving the quality of your squad, or are you just giving players a slot because they just need to be there? Is there any ASEAN Asian? Yeah, there are players from ASEAN and Asian countries in Germany. Borussia Mönchengladbach has a player, I know. So you said that some players are good at youth level but may not shine much at senior. But is it the opposite of this possible? What enemy preparing youth shine later, or that image occur? Chetan, yeah, Sunil Chetri. Sunil Chetri wasn't a great player at youth level. Sunil Chetri was a late starter. Never don't even get a chance. Sunil, to me, again, Sunil was, when he joined Mohun Bagan, he's one of many players who came there that year. And let me just check. 1 second. Let me just check in old data about who the players were that joined Mohun Bagan Supergiant in the year that Sunil Chetri joined them. 1 second. Let me just check. All right. So let me go to Mohun Bagan Supergiant, right? I think it was 2004. Was it 2004? Was it 2004? No, Sunil Chetri 2004 was already in. It was 2003 Sunil joined them. 1 second. Let me figure out. Let me just check. No, when did Sunil join Mohun Bagan Supergiant? 1 second. Sorry, 2002, not 2004. Sorry, my mistake. 2002, right? Sunil Chetri joined Mohun Bagan Supergiant from City Club in Delhi. The other players, Satish Kumar Bharti from Tolling and Jogurami, as was Amit Shina Roy, Partho De. Then you had Yakubu joining from Bengal Mumbai FC, as did Sushil Karthik and a certain Crispin Chetri, right, the women's national team coach. Then you had Santosh Singh and Manish Burman, Umesh Sharma joining from Tata Football Academy. You've got George AK and Sheikh Sanjeev joining from ITI. Manos Joshi joined with Sunil from City Club. Baichung Bhutia joined Mohun Bagan from Bury Football Club. And Shomatai Shaiza from Churchill Brothers, as well as Ram Rai from Dempo, Gaurav Datta Calcutta Port Trust, Rajiv Ghosh from FCI, and Tarif Ahmed. Right? And that's the Mohun Bagan transfer list from 2002, including a Sunil Chetri, who at the time nobody knew. So the big striker signing, was Baichung Bhutia. Mohun Bagan were champions that year. So they had Barreto in there. And if I look at this team, Sheikh Sanjeev would have been in that pecking order ahead of Sunil. Honestly, I think nobody thought that Sunil Chetri would be playing for them, right? That is just so Ranit Sakar of Sri Lanka Young Rose, that's what's going to breathe in his initial days. Let's see. Again, Angry Birds, yeah. Didn't Chetri blow up when he was nearing his 30s? Yes, he did. Animal. 2007, left JCT. Left Mohun Bagan to join JCT. And that was the starting point. And then later on, when he went to America, very important year. Sporting Lisbon, very tough. India captain. But, those years toughened Sunil up and made Sunil what he is today. And, let's see where he can take himself. Though Kumar is in Slovenia, don't rate him high at this point of time. Angry Birds, give him time. I still think that coming to Kerala was a wrong step by him, because he was not ready for that step to play senior level ISL football. And let's see if he can get better in the next 2-3 years, if he stays in Slovenia and plays at that level. That's important for him. Training, playing, very, very important for him to be able to try and at least get to a higher level. That's the challenge that he has as a player. He's got the potential to be a better goalkeeper, but to me, he's not a finished product. And not being a finished product is the reality of So many love players. Right, 1 hour 40 minutes plus, meaning more than 100 minutes. So even 90 minutes plus added time on this live on the 2nd of October 2025. You know, and Hannibal says maybe Som will become Jano will play top 5 European League. You never know, Hannibal. I would love it, but again, give Som Kumar and all these other boys time. And as always, as I say, like, share, and subscribe. Yes, I've been a little irregular on things, and with Pooja around, so I'll be doing my short videos again. Do watch them. I did something, why Mohan didn't travel, Super Cup draw, Super Cup, all the other things in there. And I'll surely do something on Mohan Bagan on the AIFF as well in the coming days. So do support me. As I said, closing in on the 3,000 mark. I need your support on that. And yeah, we need to grow this community of speaking on honestly. So therefore, that's it. And I'll catch you hopefully tomorrow night for another Indian football discussion. As always, I'll be back. And yeah, hope is the one thing that we have. And this month, October 2025, will be very, very important for Indian football, because if certain steps aren't taken, very, very dark times are coming on Indian football. Bye and good night.